gesture, dancing around. Her uncle, the future King Edward VIII, does the same. Whether an innocent gesture done in jest, the palace is said to be scrambling to figure out how the film got out.
They're grave robbers.
Royal
Tomb Raiders.
Correspondent Roya
There's been a huge level of concern as to how the material got out. The fact that they actually don't know how it's got out. Unknown things like that to do with the royal family and archives rattle royal aides, and they rattle members of the royal family too.
They rattle the history. That's what they do. Whoa, they're Nazis? This is in 2015. Did they think Mr. Gillespie will come in 2020? No, they're just doing the press. So don't make it look like what you don't do today don't matter tomorrow. There's always greater coming. You feel what I'm saying? I'm telling you that all of these people are hidden neo-Nazis. Germans and Polish and Dutch and Swedish.
However, part of that clip had already been made public.
Hitler and them didn't lose the war. They immigrated over here. The Germans didn't, all them Nazis, all these wars, that they just migrated right to the Americas and became U.S. citizens and helped invade the South and overthrow, oh my goodness, everything. That's what happened. Who you think that was in the Klan? Nazis.
Currently showing the Queen and her sister just moments after that incident, part of an exhibition by Buckingham Palace last year, which has lent to claims the palace itself may be partly to blame for inadvertently releasing the footage to documentary makers. The Sun newspaper won't say where they got it, but it was obtained in a legitimate fashion and published with the public interest in mind, says managing editor Stig Abel.
But the fact remains that in 1933, led by a man who was to become Edward VIII,
led by the man who was to become Edward VIII. So is Edward VIII a fucking title rather than a fucking name? It became a title after the real royals. Press one. Y'all tripping.
British royal family were doing Nazi salutes to a video. That seemed very immediately to us to be a matter of great cultural, historical, and general interest.
The historical interest the paper claims is that it reveals King Edward's implicit support for the Nazis from early on. Long accused of being a Nazi sympathizer, Edward visited Hitler in 1937 after giving up his crown to marry U.S. divorcee Wallis Simpson.
Giving up his crown. So he gives up his crown to marry. Oh, really? Grave robbers, right. So a man gives up his crown to marry. Facts. Right.
The Queen was only about 6 years old when the film was shot at the private residence of Balmoral, unaware of what that Nazi salute would come to symbolize. Adolf Hitler was then an aspiring politician, already a German chancellor and the head of the Nazi.
But you can't blame that on Hitler when there was before that. Press one. She was born, she came way before the 33 and the stock market crash and all that.
Party, but before
you see how they just tell history backwards and forwards and backwards, they jump in, they time shifters.
He became the Führer of the Third Reich, long before the horrors of World War II and the atrocities of Nazi Germany.
Now, don't those look like the same Americans when World War II came and Americans came home from World War I? And they had all the American flags, right?
Before the horrors of World War II,
the Americans was waiting on them at the house. Remember what at the house in New York?
And the atrocities of Nazi Germany.
It was just change your clothes.
And as much as that footage came as a surprise, it's not likely to affect the